Hey, welcome to Your Pretty Pennies with Tara Jones. I'm Tara Jones-Williamson. I am your financial success coach and lifestyle designer. And today we are going to be talking about what 2020 should have taught you about managing your money. And I'm gonna try not to bump this table and this camera and make the camera so shaky, but welcome. I wait for some people to come in. This will also be shared on my YouTube channel, which is Tara Jones-Williamson. So feel free to share this on whatever platform that you're watching. And I really wanted to do this. I kind of posed this question on my Facebook the other day, which is, what did the pandemic, what did quarantine, what did living through a global pandemic that nobody was prepared for, what did it teach you about money? And I got a few responses, which are really cool, but I also want to share with you what my responses are, what it taught me, what it taught my clients, how I'm making sure my clients prepare financially moving forward, because that is a key. Like, you got to be ready so you ain't got to get ready, because a lot of people was getting ready over 2020 and even into 2021, and we definitely need to make sure that we don't struggle with some of the same financial things that we did once, like as we did now, because anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. So the first thing that, 2021 taught me about managing money and about money in general, and it should have taught you, is that you've got to have cash on hand. You got to have cash on hand. It's one thing to have money in the bank. It's one thing to have money in 401k. It's one thing to have money, in investments, right? It's another thing to have cash on hand. And here's why that was so important. I don't know about you, but my bank and a lot of people that I know, a lot of circles that I'm in, they were controlling your assets, right? It was called capital. It's a term called capital control that I was looking up, where basically they limit how much money you can get, or if you try to cash a check. So let's say if somebody wrote your check or you received a check in the mail or something like that, and you wanted to mobile deposit it, or if you went to the ATM and deposited it, or if you went to the bank and deposited it, they went from allowing up to $5,000 of checks being deposited, or half the amount of the check, or for some banks they would even clear most of all of the check to, well, you don't have to wait a week. You only get a portion of this amount of money, and you don't have to wait a week in order to get the rest. Or you could only use a certain amount of money per day on your debit card to make any type of transactions or whatever else. They really tightened up on how much of your money you had access to on any given day, which is why it's important to have money in cash, in hand, in your household somewhere, in a fireproof box, in a fireproof safe or something, to where if you needed to make a larger transaction or something happens and the bank's closed, we was in the middle of a pandemic. Y'all see that Trump flag flying behind me? I have neighbors that has a Trump flag. Yes. And it's very interesting. It's huge. They're cool though. They don't bother us. We don't bother them or whatever. It's just this huge Trump flag on the other side of the woods or whatever, but whatever. Yeah, but they really try to control the amount of money, of your money, that you can access at any point in time. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't like my coin being messed with, right? So I don't know about y'all, but that taught me to keep money on hand. And it's so funny because, when I was younger, my grandmother always had a shoebox that was in her closet, up on the shelf, behind her slips and her skirts or something, behind some other shoes, and she has some money always sitting in the house somewhere, tucked away, right, in a shoebox or something. Just because, like if you need some money and you need some cash and the banks start closing or things start shutting down, but you need access to your money, like that's not going to be a good thing if all your money is tied up. Another thing that 2020 should have taught you is that you need to keep money in a savings, sis. Because nothing out here is guaranteed, right? Dominique started laughing about the Trump flag. Girl, it's real out here in these streets. I live in Michigan. It's like, anyway, you know, you need to have money in savings because the amount of expenses that increased because we needed to stock up on food, right? Or for some of us in Texas, I'm in Michigan, so this didn't happen to me, but if you were in Texas, if your heater went out, if your lights went out, if your electricity went out, right? If your water went out, your water was no longer drinkable. There are so many unpredictable things that can happen from day to day that you cannot spend all the money that you earn. You cannot constantly get money coming in and then constantly spending it because you don't know what the future holds, sis. And you need to have some money set aside to be able to absorb any financial opportunity, so something good or an unplanned financial expense that happens. You need to have money set aside to do that. And I hope over this last year that it taught you that. If not for anything else, just in case you need to go stock up on some water, just in case you need to go get a generator, because there was people who literally were going days without water, going days without food. They had to go out to eat for food because their refrigerator turned off. When we was in quarantine, people were losing their jobs, right? They were working from home, their hours were getting cut. All types of things, right? We had to stock up on food because they didn't want, people coming in and out of the grocery store very often. Some grocery stores completely shut down. And so whatever food you had on hand, you just had on hand, whatever the case is, right? You need to make sure you got money on hand because nothing is predictable out here. All right. The next thing, keep food in your refrigerator, your deep freezer, water closets. Now it's funny when we talk about being prepared for the worst, them people in the South, they got that down pat because y'all, whoever live up in the South, y'all used to hurricanes, y'all used to floods, y'all used to all types of stuff to where y'all are able to like bunker down and just sit tight for a few days to a couple of weeks, and y'all are just fine. Y'all are prepared for that. Y'all mentally prepared for that. Here up in the North, when tissues start going out of stock and food start going out of stock, and didn't nobody have any water saved up, and we didn't know what was going on at the beginning of the pandemic, it was crazy because up here, we don't really have power outages like that last for days at a time. We don't have hurricanes and natural disasters that require us to sit up in the house, right? In some parts of the world and of the country, we don't have those issues to where we can't get out and move and shake and go to a grocery store real quick and get whatever we need. We don't have cleared shelves, right? And so when the pandemic hit, and we started seeing them shelves cleared, and we didn't have enough tissue to last, and we didn't know when the next time some more was going to come in. Oh, it got real. It got real, right? Hey, Paige, hey, sis. So, that's another thing that 2020, the issues with the polar vortex down south, and also the coronavirus should have taught us is that we got to stay ready so we ain't got to get ready. Right? So if you're grabbing toilet tissue, just grab one more pack. If you already grabbing some chicken from the store, just throw an extra pack of chicken in your freezer, right? If you already buying shampoo, just get another pack just in case you ain't going to be able to move and shake, right? And there's nothing wrong with getting a couple of cases of water and just leaving up in the house just in case you don't have access to fresh water, right? If we didn't know anything else, we've seen over the last 12 months that nothing is for certain, right? So let's be mindful about that. The other thing that I want to talk about on what 2020 should have taught you about money is that your job, your career, your business, your clients, your investments, anything that's tied to your name that generates income for you is not guaranteed. There's some things that are called global pandemics that we've experienced that can make your money funny, that can make your job funny, that could make the economy funny, that could make the stock market funny and cause you to lose money either from one area or another. And so in order to make sure that this does not affect you for very long, we gotta have not only an emergency fund or short-term savings, a long-term savings goal of 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in that savings account and left there. This should be separate from any little financial issues or unplanned expenses or something like that. We got a little emergency fund, a little pool of money over here to where we can manage money and manage throughout the month for something that comes up unexpectedly. No, your 3 to 6 months of living expenses should be in a whole separate account, preferably a money market account or something that's making some more money on your money, right? To where you don't even touch that, because that's for if like I said, bless you, Taryn, if somebody loses their job or if an income stream dries up, you can be able to pay your bills and float yourself for 3 to 6 months until you get something else going or until things level out in the stock market or you get another job or your hours come back at work or whatever have you, right? Or if you are a business owner and your clients got a little funny, things kind of got a little thin. Thank the Lord that once the pandemic hit, my client load actually went up, and the amount of people who were buying programs and courses and things like that from me because they realized, listen, I need help. I need help. My money is funny and I need to get through this. And so they booked with me, they coached with me, and they were able to thrive through the pandemic. And that's exactly what I want for you, which is why I'm talking to you about this, right? Another thing, have several streams of income. You cannot rely on just one source of income in your business. I don't rely on just coaching. I don't rely on just public speaking. I do not rely on just online sales of my courses and my workbook and things like that in the YPP store, right? Go to yourprettypennies.com to learn more about the financial tools that I offer. I don't just rely on that. I have other sources of income. I have investment income. I have a second business, which is an online vintage boutique that I'm running through a couple of different platforms. I have several different streams of income, right? I have affiliate marketing. The list goes on of how many streams of income I have in my business. But let's say if you are a business owner or you're a side hustler, but you also work a 9 to 5, you cannot just rely on your 9 to 5. And I know you hear everybody talking about this far and wide, but when that pandemic hit and things started to get a little bit dry when it comes to income streams, we've seen, well, at least I did start to see who was starting to struggle and who wasn't because of how many streams that they had coming in, income that they had coming in, to where even if all of them were affected, it was still enough money for them to still be at ease, at peace when it came to getting, through the pandemic, because we didn't know how long it was going to be till the economy bounced back, till things started to open back up, to whether we can go in person. And, a lot of these businesses rely on in-person interaction, right? I know for my public speaking part of my business relied heavily on in-person speaking. Now I'm able to get virtual clients and I'm doing virtual workshops, especially nonprofits and things like that. But for me, the bulk of my business for a couple of years, did come from public speaking. And so when them contracts dried up, I had made myself available to clients and, hey girl, hey LaQuasia. I made myself available on my coaching platform and things like that. And so being able to pivot and move in between income streams is going to be huge from this point forward, because we are in a time where there's a lot of uncertainty, right? Who would have thought Texas would be in the negatives for temperatures? I never would have guessed that. I never would have guessed I would have lived through a global pandemic. And here we are. And so the next time there's a moment of uncertainty, you don't want to be caught slipping, right? Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, right? The next thing that I want to talk about is having a home-based business, right? And this means even if your goal is not to be a full-time home-based business individual to where you're working from home or you're gaining clients or you're working in your local area, having an LLC in your name that is deemed a home-based business, that you do get some type of residual income, active or passive, or residual income from, is going to be key moving forward. Not only because that's another stream of income that's very lucrative potentially, and that you can do if you are housebound, right? A lot of us have been quarantined in our homes, and those with home-based businesses that didn't require us to open up our doors, we thrived online, right? Because I can still run my business through the computer, through my phone, through all these other things. I didn't have to necessarily shut down completely because there's a large component of my business that's online, right? But not only that, girl, the tax breaks. Let's talk about the tax advantages of being able to write off tons of stuff, including a part of your cell phone bill, a part of your rent, a part of your utility bills, right? A part of your internet that you already pay, like all these different things. And not to mention anything that you buy for your business is a tax write-off, right? If you own a car and you're using your car for business, if you're using gas, all these things, girl, there's advantages to this. There's levels to this financial level up, sis, right? And so those are the things that I just wanted to share with you, is that don't get caught slipping next time. We are living in an age of uncertainty. There are so many different people who are prophesying and basically saying and predicting that there's more weird stuff to come in the future. And people were talking about the pandemic and the stuff in Texas, and I wouldn't have believed them because I'm not a conspiracy theorist type. Like, I'm like, y'all crazy. Y'all need to go sit down somewhere, go take a nap. And here we are. I lived through a whole global pandemic that's still going on. That's crazy. Right? And thank God for these financial skills that are already have in place, and these financial things that are already due, and also resourceful times that I already do, that I didn't really struggle. It's funny because my husband said, thank God I live and I married a woman who's a planner, because I constantly have more than what I need on hand in my home, just because, you know, we have a big family, and my husband and my parents are getting older. So whenever I shop, I think about them, right? And I have siblings. So for me, I've always been the type that's like, okay, well, let me get a little bit more than what I need, just in case I come across somebody who's in need and I can share it with them. So therefore, we didn't run out of tissue ever. We didn't run out of toilet paper. We ain't run out of no paper towels. We didn't run out of food. I stayed ready. Stay ready. Like, y'all wanted to eat, y'all could have came over and sat down, got a bottle of water, got some chicken nuggets for the kids, because I stay with chicken nuggets and fries up in that freezer, because the way my kids are set up and their appetite is set up, listen, you got to keep something on deck for them to throw up in that air fryer to eat. So just be mindful that as we live in the times of uncertainty, just think ahead, plan ahead, get your coins together. And if you need help with that, inbox me, or go to the link in my bio, or head over to yourprettypennies.com. I have the Financial Reset Online Academy. I also am opening up the Financial Freedom Reset, the Financial Freedom Fast Track program, which is where I walk with 5 women for over the course of 4 weeks and help them pay off massive amounts of debt in 2 years or less. If you are interested in that, you can click the link in my bio as well. And also head over to the YPP store, which is in the link in the bio, or you can go to yourprettypennies.com, where you can get your financial tools such as the Ultimate Financial Planner, and also some online tools like the Budget Mastery binder that will help you manage your money on a monthly basis. All right. Thank you so much. Leave me a comment. Let me know how this has helped you and what you are going to do to make sure that you didn't go through 2020 in vain, and even parts of 2021 with this whole freezing over of Texas. And that really hurt my heart to see all them people like that, to where I started raising funds and even donated quite a bit of my own money to women in the YPP community and outside the YPP community, because I cannot imagine having my children cold up in a house. Like, my heart just went out to all the women who were in parts of the country where it was just like frozen. But thank you, sis. Someone said I look amazing. My girl Quaisha. Yeah, Quaisha put in the comments, she said uncertainty and abundance at the same time. That's the thing. Let's talk about how me, Quaisha, Like Quaisha is one of my accountability partners. I talk to her all the time. Even though there were moments of uncertainty through this whole last year and even into this year, she and our business exploded. Our businesses exploded. We didn't lack for a thing, right? Our money didn't get too funny compared to what it could have been, right? And so that's just really a testament of being prepared, thinking ahead, thinking about tomorrow, not just for today. Don't spend everything you earn, and making sure that you stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. That's all it is, right? So you can experience abundance in uncertainty without feeling like you missed a beat, right? All right, so I'm going to let you ladies go. Let me know in the comments how this has blessed you and what you are taking away from this, and I will talk to you later. Bye.